Here we have a new 2026 Chevrolet Traverse. This one comes in the Z71 trim level with all-wheel drive. This color is sandstone gray, and then we have jet black Evotex interior with torch red accents. The powertrain consists of a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. As we come around to the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with the LED daytime running lights. Love the front fascias of these, especially with the red tow hooks. It really does make this look very aggressive, really off-road capable. As we come around to these wheels, these are going to be 18-inch aluminum. We get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. And then to the door panel here, we get power door lock controls, 1-touch up and down on the driver's side window, express down on the other 3 doors. Power mirror controls are here. Those mirrors are heated and they do have blind spot monitors in them. We have a power lift gate, electronic parking brake, drive modes, and all-wheel drive we can go through, and then the auto stop toggle there. Hood release. We get a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. And then here we have our power driver's seat with 2-way power lumbar support. But I want to give a huge thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Traverse today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. Takes just a minute to fill out your information. I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. Parts contents there if you're interested. But I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So we're gonna check out the space in the back if I can get this seat. Well, I'll tell you what, somebody left the 3rd row flat, so I'm gonna go ahead and raise that really quickly. And while I'm back here, I'll kind of show you how the 3rd row works. So first of all, top tethers for car seats are on the back of all 5 of the rear seats, which is nice. And in the 3rd row, you do get a USB-C charge port on either side and a bottle holder on either side as well. But you can fold them flat, and then to get it back up, just pull on the strap, and you do the same thing to release it and push it down. But that's the difference in the space with the 3rd row up compared to the 3rd row down, as you can see. And then the spare is underneath this here. There's a 12 volt. But we'll check out the back in terms of the looks here in a minute, but I wanted to be able again to push this seat back as far as it can go to test out this space. So really good space for me in the 2nd row. Just the hairs of my kneecaps are barely brushing the back of the seat. Seat back pockets on both sides. Rear AC controls are here. You get 2 USB-C ports and a 120 volt included on this one. But there's a look at the front from back here. And there's the sunshade for the panoramic roof. There's a look at the back from the 2nd row. Now, LED reading lights are throughout. We have the vents integrated in the actual headliner there. I like that. And then our child locks, lock, unlock there. Fuel filler. And as we come around to the back end here, full LED tail lights, quad tip exhaust. And then if you want to use a tow hitch, it is hidden behind that cover. There's a look underneath the vehicle itself. But this is where these things really shine. They have one of the best looking back ends on a vehicle, really. They did such a great job with the tail lights and all of that. Now, if you want to make it easier to get out of the 3rd row, pull up on this here. This will tumble the seat forward. And then pretty easy to just push it back into place. And you can pull up here, and that'll fold the seat flat for you if you need to run longer objects through. And then your lower anchors for the car seats right here. Pretty easy to get to. And then our front passenger seat is a manual 4-way here. And glove compartment. You can kind of get a look at the trim there. And then we do have a little pocket underneath where the shifter would normally be. And that's good storage if you want to put a small bag or tablet, something like that. Now as we come back around to the front, just a quick look in the engine bay. There's that 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And next we're gonna show the blinkers. But next, let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So nice wrap steering wheel here. Feels really nice to the touch. I like how thick it is as well. There's the horn, and then I like having the Z71 emblem down there. Now to the screen here, this is a 17.7-inch Google Assistant system here. So for audio, we get AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth, wireless CarPlay, and Android Auto compatibility. Google Maps, we have access to that. With the full subscription, you can get all the features. Your vehicle status menu kind of shows the tire pressure sensors, the battery voltage, etc. And then you can actually go into the sub menus here and kind of see everything the way it's, you'd want to see it in a gauge face. So everything's there. Now, before I forget, your headlamp controls are on the screen here, so you can set those to auto, and that pretty much does it for most people. But if you ever have to turn the lights on manually, you just have to make sure that screen is on. Lane keeping system's there. And then for your cameras, you do get the rear and the front camera, and then your side view as well. Now this is pretty cool. Your off-road settings are in here. If you want to see your pitch and roll, your tire pressure, or the compass, you have that. So that's pretty neat to have. And then you can also kind of change what's shown where if you want to switch any of these out. Now for your settings, go down here. Vehicle settings include rear seat reminder, teen driver, and buckle to drive. And then if you want to change your language or units of measurement, just go into the system settings and you can do that there. And then hit the controls here. You have your rear window locks there, hill descent control, auto high beams, traction control, a few other features as well. But down here we have our dual zone automatic climate control, so we can use these knobs and buttons here, or we have these that are always up here along with the 3-stage heated seats. They're always at the bottom of the screen. Or you can pull up the actual climate menu here, and then you can fool with it that way. So you get dual zone up front, and then you have the rear that you can go between by hitting that button there. So it's pretty neat. Now down here we have a USB-C and a USB-A input. It's kind of hard to see behind the wireless charging pad, but those plug directly into the radio. There's a 12-volt over here as well. See if I can kind of light that up. You can see that a little better. It's a glare too, so I apologize. But wireless charging pad is here. Bottle holders, and then here, a little extra storage. We can close that away. This still has a cover on it. It's actually black, but center console cubby space. Removable tray there. You have a light as well. And then when the sunshade is back, we can tilt or slide this roof. That's a one-touch slide there. Goes all the way back. That's pretty impressive. And then hit it a second time, goes even further. One of the biggest openings in a panoramic roof in a vehicle like this. There's a look at the back from up here. Now your controls for the roof right here. Hazards are right there. OnStar controls here. Sunglasses holder. And then this one does have the rear camera mirror. You can turn that off or on like that. And then your vanity mirror. But back up front, windshield wipers, rear wipers. There's the fluid for the front. And then for the shifter, hit the brake, pull for neutral, pulling up for reverse, pulling down for drive. While in drive, you can activate your low mode by hitting this button here, and then you can use these paddle shifters behind the steering wheel to toggle what gear you're in for that limiter. Park, push in right there. Behind the steering wheel on the left side, we can toggle our track list or radio station favorites, And then behind on the right side, volume up, volume down there. Now we do get adaptive cruise, so you can turn that on there, hold this cancel button, and we can go between regular and adaptive there by holding that X. And then we can set our speed, adjust the gap for the adaptive cruise or the forward collision alert. And then voice recognition, audio sources here, and we can scroll through those. And then we can also change our gauge faces as well. Heated steering wheel toggle, and then a mute. Pull up your phone like that. Push button start. Finally, here is the key fob with remote start. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2026 Traverse Z71 out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Traverse, we get the 2.5 Turbo 4. It sounds a bit different compared to the outgoing V6s in the earlier models, but I actually like how this gets up to speed. I have it in the tour mode now, but I'm gonna make sure the all-wheel drive is on, and then we're gonna put it into sport mode and get it ready to get on the interstate here. Now, one thing I love about just doing a real world test drive on vehicles like these is I'm able to kind of see how this would work in real time. Now, having to hit the drive modes while you're driving, you can do that pretty easily, but just be careful because I accidentally fat fingered right in the middle and it threw the parking brake on. I think the vehicle kind of realized what happened and just threw it off, but I felt it kick on for just a second, so probably something you don't want to do while you're driving, just while you're stopped, just in case. But we're gonna give it a pull here. Here we go. So, I mean, it got up to speed very nicely. I'm gonna put it into the normal drive mode now. But I wanna give a big thanks again to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Traverse today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But the ride is fantastic. It floats down the road effortlessly. Feels almost as good as a Buick Enclave Avenir I drove the other day. But these just have a record of riding extremely well because of the platform and, you know, just how they're set up. But again, even in this off-road oriented one, I'm actually impressed by how well it's floating down the road, seriously. Sound acoustics are pretty good. The tires aren't overly loud. If you listen for them, you can barely hear them, but these aren't 33s or 35s, 37s, nothing crazy. So it's really not anything noticeable to me compared to just driving an LT. Now, in terms of what you get for the money, I do feel like the tariffs are kind of showing their ugly head on the sticker price here. This does have a couple of options, but we're over $50,000 for a Z71. We don't have cooled seats. We have the panoramic roof, which is nice, but it's just, it doesn't have Super Cruise. It's lacking a few options that I would want to have. But honestly, I think for the right person, this has everything that you need. You have the all-wheel drive system. When I was selling cars, I remember so many people that would tell me, I'm not getting a vehicle without all-wheel drive. And I'm thinking, you're driving in Tennessee, when are you going to need that? But whatever. But you know, that's just a must-have for a lot of people. So you have that here. You have the off-road kind of ruggedness that goes along with it in terms of the usability, but also the looks, and then some of the features as well. But we have the heated seats. The newer infotainment system I really like in terms of just how it operates, how quick it is, how it's used. And I feel like GM's kind of getting ahead of the curve with using an Android system in their vehicles, because you see so many aftermarket radios nowadays that have fully built Android systems. And that's how I have my 2000 Porsche Boxster and that has an Android system I just put in there. And I really like it. There's so much that you can customize with it. There's so much that you can do with it. And they tend to be very fast systems with the memory and all of that. And this here is, I think, a smart move by GM. I didn't really like it at first, but just kind of getting people to use your system while some other manufacturers kind of focus more on going all in with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But I kind of wanted to give a few seconds to at least show the vehicle. You know, I've been doing a lot of talking on this one, so I just want y'all to hear it for a second before I pull back in the parking lot. But I think this is a solid vehicle, just in general. These have been holding their values. I've been watching them used on cars.com, and they're still bringing a lot of money. So if you see the sticker price, expect to pay something close to that, if not that. But for those that want something like this, if anything, this is the best looking SUV out there in my opinion. So with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2026 Chevy Traverse Z71.